This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, Hump Day, May 26th. I'm Jeff here with my friends Stephanie and Brandon. Should we compliment each other or just move on?
Let's go right into it.
I like it. We're gonna phase that out. We're gonna phase that out. Even though me and Stephanie, I have to say something. We all both wearing navy blue.
Okay, great observation, guys.
See, Brandon's mad. He's just jealous. He's just jealous. All right. We're not gonna do that tomorrow. All right, guys, let's get into this. Brad Pitt has won his custody battle with his ex, Angelina Jolie. A judge made a tentative ruling granting Brad joint custody of their 5 minor children. The two have been fighting this out in court for 5 years now. So according to the Daily Mail, Brad is relieved as his only intention was to spend more time with his kids. Last year, Angelina made a legal bid to disqualify the private judge overseeing the case. So the judge also refused to let some of their children testify, if you remember, but the court did hear from some witnesses, experts, therapists, and others who have been around the kids.
Yeah, so I guess she was upset because the judge wouldn't allow him to hear from the teenage kids, the younger kids. I don't know if they're all got weird names, so I don't even know how to remember them all. But here's the thing: that when you have when people from child service comes in and they testify on behalf of the kid, that's the kid's voice. And I'm saying that because no, I don't know Brad and Angelina, but we know people who are in custody battles. We have friends and family who have gone through this, so we can relate when it comes to that manner. And all I would say to them right now, after hearing that this private judge has made this significant changes to the prior custody agreements, it's time to let it go, guys, because it is not time to bring these kids to a therapist to talk about what they would want to say in court. It's time for these kids to start seeing a therapist to heal for the rest of their lives. It's not about y'all anymore. If it really is about these kids, then let this go. Try and find a way to resolve this as amicably as possible and let these kids for now heal, because they have the rest of their life that they have to deal with.
Yeah, you know, listen, we started the story by saying Brad won this case, and technically he did. But who's the winner and who's the loser in this case, right?
Exactly.
I came from two parents, right? A mom and a dad. Whether it's a broken home or single home, I can't speak on behalf of that. But isn't the best case scenario, if you're not hurting the children, to have 50-50 custody? Is that just me, or am I being ignorant in that fact?
I think as long as obviously everything's amicable and both parents are sane, clean of mind. Remember, let's not forget, when this has been going on now for years, like I said, for 5 years. And Brad did come out and say that he was taking drugs, he went to rehab. A lot of things I think have changed for Brad since that initial time. Obviously, this was a while ago. And I think, you know, that's maybe why the judge decided not to talk to Maddox, who's of legal age. Half the children are. They've got 6 children.
Name them.
Oh gosh, there's so many.
But keep going. I didn't mean to mess you up.
But Maddox, basically, he's 19 years old. He spoke up at the time. They were on the flight from France back to America, and there was some kind of incident. I think obviously that stuck with Maddox. He wanted to testify. He's a lot older now, but people change. Obviously, Brad openly said he went to rehab. He said he's cleaned up his act. I'm sure he's changed too. He misses his kids, and you know, I think it shows. People can change and make these things work.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Brad's other ex, Jennifer Aniston, recently gave him some pretty high praise. So during an interview about tomorrow's Big Friends reunion special, the female cast members mentioned their favorite celebrity guest stars. Let's watch.
And Charlie Sheen. Like first season.
That's right, for chicken pox.
Yeah.
Oh, he was really funny.
And
Mr.
Pitt
was wonderful.
Yep. He was fantastic.
Fantastic.
And 2 other exes appear to be officially back on. According to Us Weekly, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, who we talk about a lot, are full on dating. The 2 have been spotted hanging out in Miami and were reportedly seen kissing at a gym this week. Ooh. Daily Mail is also reporting that they're staying at this $18 million Miami mansion, which comes with 11 bedrooms for the 2 of them, 12 bathrooms, a pool, hot tub, and waterfront views. So we've talked about this a lot. We think we know they're officially back together. Let's bring this a little more personal.
I think Brandon's very happy about it.
Do you want to talk about that?
He was shaking his head like.
No, I mean, it's not official unless you rent out an 18-bedroom mansion. But let's bring it back. But let's bring it back.
Let's make it a little personal. Let's make it personal to us about getting back with exes. Because it's been how many years, Steph? 18?
17 years since they were engaged. So let's remember that you don't just get engaged. You've got to really like love someone, think you're spending the rest of your life with them, and they were engaged for quite some time. They were together for 2 years, and they were like, you know, the Hollywood it couple. So I think, you know, again, think about it. Am I the same person that I was almost 20 years ago? No. But a lot of my fundamental traits and views on things obviously will remain the same. So I think, you know, they obviously they fell in love with each other, the views, the kind of general personality, but maybe the things that caused them to drift apart are now different. You know, I think Ben's grown up a lot. J-Lo's gone on to even, I don't know how it's possible, but even further success. So, you know, maybe this time around it's going to work.
Since this pandemic, I've reached out to 2 former situationships.
You did?
2 former situationships. Because it's always been a timing thing. You know, it's always been, I've lived in one part of the country or even in another country playing football in the Canadian Football League. You thought someone was amazing, but it just, at the time of your life, it wasn't going to work, especially not only schedule, but who I was at that time. You know, so now that, you know, I've adapted, I got a good job, I got some stability in my life. I've reached back out to see, you know, hey, I'm a little bit stable now. I'm a little bit more grown now. what do you think?
What was their response?
Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
What?
If you're thinking about an ex that you go back to, what's the first thing that you think of?
I've never been back to an
Come on, man.
The good times.
The good times?
The good times.
The naked good times?
No, you don't.
Come on, yes,
you don't
yes,
necessarily.
you are.
No, you. That's a fling. When you
You're
remember a
comfortable with each
fling
other.
first because of the sex. You remember an ex or a former situationship in my book.
Listen,
you remember
if you're
that because of
getting
good
back with
times.
An ex, I think it's very comfortable in the bedroom. Right? It's not because you guys both worked at the same animal shelter.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. So like, I was with someone for like a decade, like a really long period of. We had a house, we had the whole caboodle. We nearly got married, whatever. Didn't work out clearly. And I think like I would feel really awkward. I wouldn't want to go back there. And like you said, it's really comfortable. I would not be comfortable.
Right. That's the reason you go.
No,
listen,
I wouldn't be
I played
comfortable.
professional football. The sex isn't what brings you back to the actual
that's
woman that
absolutely
keeps
no
you
way.
there. You know?
I'm saying it brings you back to a comfortable spot.
No, but I wouldn't be comfortable. I don't want someone who saw me in that circumstance 10 years ago to see me now. I'm like, no, moved on. Thank you very much.
The last 2 days, you guys have been very difficult. I'm just going to put that out there. All right, we're going to move on. Speaking of exes, we're getting back, or more exes are getting back together. Matt James from The Bachelor confirmed he is back with Rachel Kirkconnell. So Matt gave Rachel his final rose on the show, but they broke up after photos of her at an Old South party resurfaced. In a recent podcast appearance, Matt said Rachel gave him an ultimatum. Let's listen.
It was just a come to Jesus meeting that I had with Rachel, where she's like, if you're gonna make this work, then let's do it. But if you're not gonna make it work, then I'm gonna let you do your own thing. And that's really all I needed.
Is that an ultimatum?
It was an ultimatum that I needed.
See, he said the sex was very comfortable. That's why they got back together.
No.
But
I'm just kidding.
That's not a real ultimatum.
I agree with Brandon
It's
on this.
not an ultimatum unless there has to be some real sacrifice. And one ultimatum I was given was on my career. Would I move from Denver to talk about stability? Would I move from Denver back to another place in the United States? And I'm saying, no, I am going to stay with my career and live here. That's an ultimatum. And
yeah,
no,
I think
I just like hearing Brandon. Like I know the blanks to fill in, but he's coming. It's just funny watching him talk. But anyways.
Now, I was wondering, like, what was the ultimatum? Like, what was she asking him? And I looked into it, and I think he was very much being like more single. He was dating, so although he was seeing her, he was also seeing other women too. So she basically was like, hey, you made a commitment to me on this show to be with me. You gave me the rose, whatever. Like, are you going to be with me? Or are you going to continue to like play the field, so to speak? And I think that's very fair. It gets to a certain point where it's like,
but
are you win or out?
That's not an ultimatum. That's the what are we talk, and we are farmers.
Exactly, it's the what are we talk.
Hey, Brandon, let me ask you a serious question real fast. I want to get to this real fast.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot here. What's the repercussions, if any, for him? Because this is such a big story. There was a lot of blowback. Chris Harrison lost his job over this whole thing. Yeah. Is he getting blowback from the black community at all? And if I'm out of line here by saying anything like that,
no.
Do you think he's getting any blowback by getting back with Rachel?
Absolutely not, and he shouldn't. For what? And the level of racist, her just wearing something to some sorority party, that's not number 10 on my black agenda. So if that's the woman that he wants to go back and he wants to find love with, then yes, my brother is married to a white woman. So if I'm gonna have a problem with him, then I have to have a problem in my own household as well. It's not. Is
that a fair question to ask?
It's a fair question, but I just don't. I'm thinking the progressive end of it and all the families out there that are biracial. I think if anything, it's a win for progressive love.
I'm just wondering if they're dealing with any of that because it was such a big story.
It had something to do with it. She probably, was like, hey, it could be the women thing, but again, it's like, hey, this is what you would be going against. You could be going against your own community. You could be getting backlash. If you're going to be in it, I need you here. I need you present.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate that. See, I could talk to Brandon London over there. You're my friend. All right. Even though we disagreed on the first story, it's okay. Channing Tatum shared a nude selfie while on the set of his new movie. Channing captioned the photo, you know when you're in the makeup chair being bleeping naked, or when you're in a makeup chair, whatever, and to do some bleep on that, you're going to have to prepare.
Is he distracting you that much, Jeffrey?
I wasn't even looking down. It's all these bleeps, and I'd rather just say the word, but you can't. You're going to have to prepare your mama for... Listen, he's naked. What's going on? It's pretty cool. I don't know. I lost it. I lost it there. It was too many like little interjections.
I'm curious as to like what he's filming. If he's saying I'm gonna have to like prepare my mum by sharing it all over Instagram, sure, that's what you're doing. Thirst trap.
Would you be scared if you were naked on a movie and your mom would see you?
No, that's Magic Mike. That has to be Magic Mike 3 or something.
That's what I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
I was like, after Magic Mike, what are you doing that's gonna be so much different?
Showing it?
Nah.
Wow, I got a phone call.
All right. Good thing we snuck that story in. Coming up on DBL, does Dennis Quaid notice the 39-year difference between he and his new wife? He's telling us. And did Kim Kardashian really stiff landscapers and maintenance workers at her mega mansion? Steph tells us what up in What Up Wednesday.
Closed captioning provided by
If you have been thinking of buying or selling a home recently, you know it's getting pretty crazy out there. Homeowners are reporting buyers offering tens of thousands over the asking price. People are plopping down cash for homes they haven't seen in person, and open houses are attracting crowds usually reserved for Black Friday. The rapidly rising prices are reminding some of the early 2000s. That all came crashing down in 2008 with a devastating effect on the economy. But experts say there are some big differences between now and then. 2008 was fueled by speculation, loosened loan practices, and an oversupply of homes. This market is driven by mortgage interest rates at historic lows, a low supply of homes, and increasing demand because of the pandemic. Plus, according to Bankrate, lending criteria strengthened after the 2008 crash remain strict. But that doesn't mean there isn't a problem. The experts say this doesn't look like a bubble, but they are concerned about sharply rising prices. When the market cools, you don't want to have spent more on a house than it's actually worth. But they expect prices to plateau, not plummet.
Welcome back to DBL. I'm Stephanie Jones with a roundup of celebrity gossip and Hollywood drama, so you know it's What Up Wednesday. Today, Kelly Ripa shares what ticked her off while working with hubby Mark on All My Children, plus the $1 million changes in this new movie you might never even notice. Let's get started. First, we're heading to Calabasas, where there's a serious legal showdown brewing between Kim K and her former maintenance staff. According to the lawsuit filed this week, the former workers claim their pay was late, short on wages, and refused overtime pay, amongst other things. But Kim's not rolling over just yet. A spokesperson for Kardashian says the workers were hired through a third party. They say it's the outside company's fault and not Kim's. So here's what's up. It's a good thing that Kim is studying for her law degree because it might be coming in handy. Next, we're heading to New York City, where Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos recently marked 25 years of marriage. But it sounds like their picture-perfect relationship didn't start off so perfectly. In an interview to Bustle, Kelly admits she was annoyed at Mark when he first joined the cast of All My Children. Here's what's up. She says it's because Mark was immediately paid more than her, even though Kelly had already been on the show for several years. It looks like what she lacked in pay, Mark helped make up for in love, because their pair tied the knot shortly after he joined the cast. And finally, we're heading back to Hollywood because we have to talk about the new Netflix movie, Army of the Dead, directed by Zack Snyder. Now, Zack knows a thing or two about big projects. After all, he's responsible for movies like 300, Batman vs. Superman, and the Justice League. But his new zombie thriller might be the craziest thing he's done yet. Here's what's up. If this looks like a normal movie trailer, what you're not seeing is the $1 million used to digitally replace one of the actors in the movie. That's right, that's comedian Tig Notaro, and she isn't really on the set. She's standing in for Chris D'Elia after the actor and comedian faced allegations of sexual misconduct with underage fans. Zack says it took a few million to make the changes, but it was an easy decision. Talk about something I've got to see now. That's it for this week's What Up Wednesday. We'll be right back.
We all know that movement
Verify exists to debunk misinformation and answer your questions. Verify viewer Monica asked us the following. How many people have contracted COVID-19 after being vaccinated, and what is the severity of illness? For this one, our researchers turned to the CDC, which has been studying what they call breakthrough infections. Between January 1st and April 30th, 10,262 COVID breakthrough infections were reported. That included more than 2,700 asymptomatic cases, about 6,400 symptomatic cases, 995 patients were hospitalized, and 160 patients, all 71 years or older, who died. When you look at the overall numbers, the data shows that the percentage of people getting COVID after being fully vaccinated is about 0.01%, a very small number. It's also important to note that the CDC says that the data might not be fully representative because it relies on voluntary reporting, and asymptomatic patients may not even know that they're sick. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. Dennis Quaid has been in practically everything, and he's currently starring in Netflix's new film, Blue Miracle. Earlier, we spoke to Dennis all about it and asked him what it's like being married to someone 39 years younger. Here's today's Chatting with the Stars.
You see anybody on this list that's won the black and blue twice? Do you? Well, there's me.
Dennis Quaid, welcome to DBL. We're so excited to talk about Blue Miracle. It's based on an incredible and inspirational true story. Welcome to DBL and tell us more about it.
It is an incredible, unbelievable true story. If this was a piece of fiction, the movie would not have been made because it's impossible to believe, but it was true. These kids in this orphanage, they were about to lose their orphanage in Casa Hogar in Mexico. And there was this fishing tournament that they do every year. It's the biggest fishing tournament in the world, really, with the biggest prize down at Cabo.
You and 3 of your least annoying orphans will be on my boat for the competition. When I catch the winning fish, we'll split the earnings.
These kids, along with this salty captain with a boat that was about to be scuttled, went out and won this tournament and saved their orphanage, you know, and changed their lives and lives of the captain. And it's beautiful to see things like this. We have enough of bad stories that come out. This is one for the good guys.
We all need this right now in our lives. We all need it.
I love it. What was your favorite part about playing that salty Captain Wade that you just mentioned? Was it fun to be a little angry?
Didn't have to take a bath for 2 weeks. That was great. This was a guy, this really changed his life. It was a great character to play.
As a history nerd, I have to ask you this question because this is really cool. You have an upcoming role as President Reagan, which, how has this role not been done yet? I mean, in terms of how he fits into our nation's history, I mean, this is going to be huge. What does the show Pawn Stars have to do with your movie coming out in 2022, Reagan?
I just saw that
Please
episode.
Explain that.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that show going way back, actually. Given a memento of Reagan's life. Doing that was a lot of fun to do. But Reagan was like maybe the most challenging role I think I've had in my career. For one thing, he was my favorite president. I mean, he's an icon. I'm really looking forward to it.
So are we.
I think that's going to be huge.
And we also heard that the pandemic didn't stop you and your new bride Laura from getting married last year. Congratulations.
Yes.
So, thank you very much. In fact, our anniversary is coming up next week. We just went up to Santa Barbara.
Ooh, I love me some Santa Barbara.
It was a great thing to do, especially in the middle of the pandemic. Gives you faith in the future.
True, but being tucked in with your new bride, did it help or hurt your marriage? And having a 39-year age difference, do you guys ever notice it?
I think it helps. Not only that, our kids went on our honeymoon with us. Actually, we took a car trip to Montana, and so everybody got to know each other really well.
Real well.
And in the end, it was a little bit like Vacation, the movie, but everybody got to know each other really well, and it was all good in the end. It made us closer.
I love hearing that. DBL Nation, definitely don't miss this heartwarming story, Blue Miracle, on Netflix now. Dennis Quaid, thank you so much for chatting today, and thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Well. Look.
Mosquito season is here. That means mosquito bites are back. Willie Anderson sent this question to the Verify team.
If a mosquito bites a person that has COVID-19, will that mosquito be able to pass COVID-19 to a person that does not have COVID-19?
With Verify, we want to make sure you know who our sources are first. We spoke with Dr. Mo Razai. She is an internal medicine physician for Fort Worth Primary Care. We also talked to Dr. Michael Levy, an epidemiologist at the University of Pennsylvania's School of Medicine. COVID-19 is a respiratory virus, meaning it's passed through the air. A mosquito is an insect. It doesn't have lungs, but it breathes through its exoskeleton, so it can't spread a virus through the air.
The mechanism of the COVID transmission, which is airborne or droplets, so it kind of doesn't go along with how it actually transmits and propagates.
When a mosquito does pass a virus to a human, it comes from a bite or the insect's salivary glands. But COVID-19 can't replicate inside the mosquito.
There'd be no way for the virus to get from a mosquito's gut if a mosquito did somehow pick it up back into another person.
Not only that, but experts tell us since a mosquito can survive long enough on the blood from a single bite, it is very unlikely for it to immediately bite someone else. So we can verify. Mosquitoes cannot spread COVID-19 if they bite a person who is already infected.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. So the Better Business Bureau is warning consumers of a rise in online scams. The scammers are targeting two types of people, those looking to rent a home and those looking to buy a pet. The scammers are requesting a payment or deposit upfront and promising delivery of the keys or pets, but never follow through. Remember, always be cautious of online transactions. When it comes to your financial assets, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more.
Really quick about Ben and J-Lo, going back to our exes. When I was reading this morning and they were saying, what's the reason why you guys broke up? So now that the media is back involved, there's going to be more. We're going to find that real reason why they broke up back in the day.
Sex. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. DBL is new every day. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place.
Thank you.